All right, everybody, Sylvia here. Happy New Year. I am in the desert near Palm Springs, parked behind my friend Joni's Catholic Church. I thought I would do a little video talking about my electric assist. I've had my electric assist for about 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years, and I thought it was time to do a 2-year assessment. Come on, Myrtle. Let's go. So you can see that with these ramps, I can easily get my trike in and out of my truck. So 2 years ago, I added electric assist to my HP Velotechnik FS20. FS stands for full suspension and 20 stands for 20-inch wheels all the way around. My trike is just about 10 years old. I bought it in 2012, so I'm coming on the 10-year anniversary. I really have no reason to replace it. It is running very, very strong. I'm very happy with my trike. I feel like I'm definitely have gotten my money's worth out of this trike. And then this is the electric assist system that was added. I think it's pretty stealth. So this is the motor right here, and this is designed and spec'd by HP Velotechnik. I don't know if you can see it, but the HP logo is actually on the motor. And what they've done is they have welded the motor system. Can you see that? There's a weld onto a boom. And so this is the part that was added. I didn't need to get a whole new trike. I just needed this boom. You can see I have one chain ring in the front, and let me put my body in the way of this so you can see the controls. So this is just a very stealth control. This is the second one I've had. I had the bigger one that goes with the E60-100. It has a lot more information available on the screen. And the other one was removable, and this one is hardwired. But you can see that I just push a button and I can go from boost to trail to eco. And there's on the display, it tells me how much battery I have. I'm looking at a full battery right now. So this is the battery, and this is where the power button is. So I just have to reach down and push that, and then you'll see the lights come on. I've got a full battery, and then I just push this button, and I can be back in the mode I like to ride in. I like to ride in trail mode. So it's pretty simple. And then in the back, I have a roll-off speed hub. I love my roll-off. My only regret is that I didn't get one sooner. And you can see there's just one cog, 16-tooth cog. And then this is not a derailleur. It's just a spacer. The derailleur would be hanging closer to where this white line is. And so I have a lot more room. And the roll-off speed hub has 14 internal gears, and really what's great about it, there's just so little maintenance. Once a year you change out the oil, and otherwise you know, the gears never need to be adjusted. They always work perfectly. And this is the shifter for the roll-off, and you can see I'm standing still, and you can go into whatever gear you want without moving. So I showed you one mount with the battery, and I have a second mount, and this mount is just for placement, just to keep the battery. If I want to use this battery for the motor, I actually have to switch them. The motor only works with the battery in that first mount that I showed. So I'm going to go into the trailer now and talk about some of the issues that I've had. Do I like it? Do I recommend it? All right, so I'm inside to talk about some of the specifics about my motor system and things you might want to consider for your own purchase of an electric assist system. For instance, My motor system is designed, spec'd, and warranted by HP Velotechnik. This is not a system that you can get aftermarket, third party. It's not a do-it-yourself. You have to go to an HP Velotechnik dealer to order it, and it would be installed by wherever it is that you're ordering it. The other thing is that this system is designed by a company in Europe, and so they have to follow the regulations for Europe. And in Europe, they are not allowed to have motor systems bigger, more powerful than 250 watts. This is the least powerful system that I have ever seen. I mean, it's not just HP Velotechnik, but there's other motor systems out of Europe, and they're all no more than 250 watts, whereas in the United States you can find a lot of systems that are 500, 750, 1,000. I've even seen 1,500 watts of power. And for me, when you're looking at the difference between 1,500 watts and 250 watts, you think, well, is 250 watts enough? Is that underpowered? And for me, I have never had a problem with the system being 250 watts. And where you're really going to see the difference is when you're climbing. So if you want to be climbing at 20 miles an hour, maybe even 15 miles an hour, you're going to want a more powerful system. At 250 watts, for my condition, my age, my ability, I'm able to climb 7 to 8 miles an hour, 13% grade in the middle power mode. So there's eco, trail, and boost, and I almost always ride in trail mode, and that for me is perfectly fine. My reference is, you know, how was it before I had electric assist? And, you know, I'm a really slow cyclist. My average speed was 8 to 9 miles an hour, and my climbing speed was turtle slow, 2.5, 3 miles an hour. So for me to be able to climb 7 to 8 miles an hour, that is fantastic, and that may not be enough for you. The other real difference between this system and other systems is there's no throttle. So if I want to get anywhere, I have to be pedaling. With a throttle, like for instance, maybe you have a disability, Parkinson's, and you are worried that you're going to get going on a ride, and maybe your muscles, you're worried they're going to give out and you're going to get stuck. So somebody like that, it would be a really good idea to have a throttle. The flip side of that is I can ride my trike with my motor system and it can be turned off and I can still get home. So I do not need to have the motor system on to use my trike. And I often did this when I was touring. You know, I would kind of get to the bottom of the end of my battery range and I would turn the motor off and just pedal to where I was going. I'm certainly not going to be as fast, it's not going to be as fun, but I have that peace of mind to know that I'm not going to get stuck out somewhere if something happens to my motor. One of the very biggest considerations and topics for electric assist is battery range. And this is a little bit complicated. A lot of people you'll see online will say, oh, I can get 60, 80, even 100 miles of battery range. And there's a lot of missing information. And so, for instance, if you go to a bike shop to look at an electric assist bike or trike, and you'll see the manufacturer specs, and it'll say, you should expect to get 60 miles of range out of this battery, you are not really getting a full picture because you don't know how they achieved that number. For instance, what kind of rider was it? What were the road conditions, the weather conditions? Maybe this was a Tour de France fitness rider in a velodrome. So there's no weather, the road is buttery smooth, there's no climbing, and so you don't really know, like, how do you compare that to what kind of riding you're going to do and what can you expect from that motor and battery. So first of all, I would say for sure you want to know how much climbing right? How much climbing was there? Because that's where you're going to use the most juice out of your battery. And then the other thing is, what was the average speed, right? So for instance, I used my motor system on a tour that I did from Portland, Oregon down to Berkeley, California. I was riding the Pacific Coast route. It's a very challenging route, and most days I was able to ride 40 to 45 miles. I had full touring gear on the bike, and there was 3,000 to 3,500 feet of climbing, and my average speed was 10 to 12 miles an hour. And of course you have to say, well, okay, and this was an older woman. I'm well over 60. I am not like a super fit athlete. And so there's just a lot of things that you need to take into consideration about your battery. The other thing is, what kind of capacity does that battery have? My batteries have 514 watt hours, and there are batteries that have more. I think I've seen like 630 watt hours, and of course there's batteries that have a lot less. And so when you see people and they'll say, well, I'm getting so many miles out of my battery. Well, how big is that battery? It might be really big. They might be on flat ground. Maybe they had a tailwind. There's a lot of information that's missing from just that one number of battery range. The other thing is battery quality. So for instance, the batteries that I'm using from Shimano are really good quality, and so the range from when it's full to when it's empty is really consistent. And a lot of batteries, the first half from being full to half full, maybe you'll get 25 miles, and from that you'll extrapolate, okay, I can get 50 miles out of this battery. But no, you may find that from half full to empty, maybe you're only going to get another 10 miles. A lot of batteries, that last half, you're going to go through it a lot faster. So, these are all things that you need to take into consideration when you're thinking about electric assist. Now, with my system, have I had issues? Yes, I have. And I can, thankfully say that the motor system itself has been flawless. All of the issues that I have had with this system have been due to the way that I travel. So I keep my trike in the back of the truck, and there is a lot of vibration, and that vibration has caused things to come loose. So for instance, the battery mount, there are 2 screws in there so that you can adjust how tight the battery fits in the mount. And I think that's because there are different sizes of battery that will fit in that mount, and you can make that adjustment. And with the vibration, those adjustment screws came loose, and I lost connection between the battery and the motor because it wasn't tight enough. Another issue that I had was when I originally bought this system, I had a different controller. It was for the older style E6100, and the controller for that was much bigger, and it was a removable display, and it sat in a holder, it kind of clicked in. And having it in the back of my truck, the display was vibrating so much that pieces of plastic chipped away, broke away from the back of the display, and I wasn't able to get a strong enough connection between these 2 points on the back of the display and the 2 points matching up in the holder. And it took a while for me to figure out what was going on there, but I used rubber bands to hold it in place until I could get the newer, much smaller Stealth display that I have now, and that's I'm not having any issues with that. The other issue that I had, and this one took quite a while for me to figure out, was that older display, the back of it was open to the elements, and it got so much dirt that the dirt actually interfered with the connection between the display and the holder. And you know what, that brings me to one of my tricks for figuring out when things go wrong with my trike. And this isn't just with the electric assist, but any mechanical thing as well. If it's not obvious to me, I clean it. I clean it thoroughly, and by the time I have cleaned my entire trike, it is very unusual that I have not figured out what the problem is and probably given myself an idea for how to fix it. So yeah, so these are some of the things that I've had to deal with, and I don't want the message to be, well, Sylvia's had a number of issues with the Shimano Steps, I'm not going to buy that system. I would say that really the motor system itself has been flawless, and it really doesn't matter what kind of system you're going to get or you have, or what kind of trike or bike that you have, you're always going to have mechanical things are going to go wrong. And the real message should be, how hard is it to work around it? Is it something that I can fix? And so far, I've been able to fix all of the issues with my trike or with my electric assist. You know, I would really love to know what you think about all of this. I think electric assist is really terrific. It's much different than I thought when I first got it. You know, my idea was that it was something I would get when I needed it, that I would have like a physical reason to get electric assist. But really, I have found that electric assist has given me just so much freedom. I don't have to worry about how long a ride is, how much climbing there is, how fast the people are that I'm riding with. I know I can keep up, and it's just giving me so much more freedom. And now with the truck, I mean, before I did this, I hadn't even had a car for 15 years. And so I'm finding like I have so much more freedom now, where I can put the trike in the back of the truck. I can meet people wherever they are to start a ride or meet at a trailhead. It just doesn't matter. You know, I can go to so many more places than I was able to before. So that's my assessment. Probably spoke more than I needed to. After having this electric assist for 2 years, I really love it. I think I would, if I was going to get a new trike, I would definitely get a trike with electric assist, and I would have no problem getting the exact same electric assist system that I have right now. But please let me know what you think about it. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video.